Garden Care A to Z is brought to you by Effecto.
Welcome to Garden Care A to Z. My name is Andre Bimray. Today we're going to be talking about bringing color into your garden. Very often our gardens have big foliage plants, lots of structural plants, but we neglect to bring a little color, a little splash of radiance into the garden. Today we're in the garden center in the north of Johannesburg, and I'm having a chat to Sue, the resident horticulturist, and she's going to walk us through exactly what sort of colors available and how much and how we should be using it in our gardens. Sue, you've selected a range of beautiful colored plants here. Talk to us a bit about it.
Well, you know, Andre, we get two types of colors in the garden. You get your annual color and you get your perennial color. Now, your annual color would last you a season.
Right.
So you've actually got to replace those plants every winter or summer season. And then you get your perennial plants, which gives you flowers, but they're not going to give you flowers all year round.
Okay.
So they would sporadically bloom.
Now, I think people are very nervous about annuals, particularly if you have a large garden, you have large beds, because it can be quite costly to plant up an entire bed, but you don't have to do that.
What I often recommend to my customers is to actually create focal points with their annual plants by maybe taking a nice pot, and you can plant your annuals in the pots. You create a focal point and you can feed the annuals very well too.
And there's some beautiful stuff here. You want to talk to me a bit about, for example, marigolds?
It's an old-fashioned plant and they just flower and flower all throughout summer. And you get a very beautiful selection of colors. You get tall ones, you get short ones, so you can really sort of space them where you need them. And then they help to keep aphids and other pests at bay in your vegetable garden. And what's more is they actually release nitrogen into the soil as well, which is great.
Tell me about this. This plant is very special.
This is a biannual. Now, usually biannuals have to go through a winter season in order to bloom, after which they will then die back. Now, this is foxglove or digitalis, and digitalis is actually used in heart medicine as well.
Absolutely.
They're one of my favorites. It just gives you that very English country feel, and I like the little spots inside the blooms as well. What's more, they give you a bit of height in your garden as well.
So over there you've got a magnificent range of indigenous plants. Of course, one recognizes the proteus straight off. But tell us a bit about some of the others you've got there.
The ones that I've got here are mostly perennial plants, so they will last season after season. They will not give you as much color as annual plants, but they will give you enough color. So it's very nice to mix those in, and they are fantastic to actually plant in your beds as well. What we've got here is kalanchoe, and this is actually a magic plant. It's one of those plants that just grow everywhere. They can just deal with any condition.
So they're the tough boys.
They're tough boys, and they've got beautiful flowers. They give you bright color, and they've got a low water requirement as well. Then this is also something that people might not know. It's called brachycomb, and it's also an indigenous plant, very nice for borders, prolific flowering, and they can grow in sun and semi-shade, which is great. The osteospermums.
One of my favorites. Absolutely love them.
They are fantastic, and I tell you, there's so many varieties available now. You can just splash out with color, and they will spread a bit too, so they're great in hanging baskets.
And they flower for quite a long time.
They do, basically throughout summer. And then, obviously, our fynbos. We've got such a beautiful selection of fynbos. We've got our pin cushions here, proteas. The heathers, I just absolutely love the heathers. They're so delicate. Those would be the ericas. And look at this one with a beautiful
That's very unusual flower as well. Yeah.
Very unusual paper flower. The flowers of these plants would last a long time.
Our proteas being acid-loving plants, they will really benefit from being fed with something like shake and grow, hydrangea. This food is particularly blended for acid-loving plants. And finally, as a general all-purpose fertilizer for flowering plants, try and use Color Burst for roses. This gives them the strength and it adds color into those blooms. with so much variety available to you, I sincerely hope that you're going to create a colorful splash in your garden. For more hints and tips, join us again on the next Garden Care A to Z.
Garden Care A to Z is brought to you by Effecto.